The following program is seen statewide on California Public Television. I think I'm stuck. Hello, everybody. I'm Huell Howser, standing in the mud amongst the cattails. And these just aren't any old cattails either. These are very important cattails. Cattails that are doing their part to help the environment here in California. We're going to learn a lot about these plants during the day. We're going to be spending the whole day amongst the cattails. And before the end of this day, before the end of our cattail adventure, we're going to all know and have a greater appreciation for these plants and others just like them that are doing their part to help keep California green.
This land is your land, and this land is my land. From the California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me.
Okay, our adventure begins on this beautiful morning. I'm standing here with Mike. Introduce yourself to everybody and spell out your title, because it's a big one, but it's an important job.
I'm Mike Mullen with the City of Los Angeles, Department of Public Works, Bureau of Sanitation, Watershed Protection, Pollution Abatement Project.
And that's actually your title. You get all of that on a business card.
Yeah, and a manager. We throw in the word manager.
Okay, great. Now tell everybody where we are this morning, because this is absolutely spectacular. You would never know you were in Los Angeles, but we are.
Right, we're in the San Fernando Valley, and we're in a 200-acre area that receives reclaimed water and has a lake and the wildlife habitat around it.
And when you talk about wildlife habitat, this really is, you've got a little bit of everything out here. There are birds flying everywhere, there are ducks on the water, there's a lot going on out here.
Absolutely, and you wouldn't know that you are right next to the 5 freeway and the 101 freeway, the busiest freeways in the state.
Well, we're here. We have a job to do this morning. You're going to put us to work right away, and basically what this job revolves around are these big things right back here behind us. What are we looking at right back here?
Well, these are the aquatic plants that grow along the margin, and they provide the habitat, and they also clean the water that's in the lake.
All right, what are they called?
These are cattails.
Cattails. So they grow quickly. They're all up and down the side of the lake. So
absolutely,
I mean, they're very easy to grow out here, aren't they?
Right. This is a perfect habitat for them, and they grow very, very fast. And actually, part of what we're here to do is to cut them back, because if they become overgrown, then we'll end up with a swamp, not a lake.
All right. So you normally cut them back.
Right.
But today, we're not just going to be cutting them back, we're going to be actually digging them out, right?
Right. We're going to be taking them out with the roots and the whole plants in 1 cubic foot sections and transporting them to another part of the city.
To our secret location. But enough of this standing around. Now it's time for us to get to work and dig out the
cattails.
Cattails. Okay, Miguel is pulling the cattails over here. Now, what's the deal, Miguel? How do we separate these things out?
We're going to use the shovels, and we're going to try to break them in small pieces so they can fit into the plastic crates.
All right, well, let's see how we do that. I'm here to learn.
Okay, so just be careful, because it'll be splashing a little bit.
Oh, it's going to splash. Oh, they just break apart. Ah.
Once we have it that small, we can pull it out to the edge, and they can break it a little bit more if they need to. So they can place it inside the crates.
Okay, so what we're doing now is just breaking them apart and putting them in the crates. So this is pretty simple operation.
Yeah, we've come up with this method of putting them in the plastic crates to make it very easy and efficient and safe for the plants to transport them.
All right, so we just cutting them apart, putting them in the crates. They don't need to be wrapped in water or anything, because we're not going to go that far, right?
Right. We're only going to be driving about a half an hour, but these plants are very tough, and they could handle a period of time out of water up to a day if we just hit them with the hose.
And how many of these plants are we getting on a day like this? How many boxes of them?
My truck loads about 40 or so. There's crates.
40 crates?
Yes.
Now, you're not worried that we're going to take too many, are you?
Well, like at the slicers, we're putting the box.
All right, good. Everybody's working. I just want to make sure. Where are we heading now?
We're going to try to get some more. Oh, we have some more over
Boy, I'll tell you what,
Just be
it gets
careful.
deep pretty quick. You've got on hip boots.
Yes, I do.
I've got on the short boots.
That's why I'm all the way inside here.
Oh, boy, they are. You know what? You're not going to run out of material out here, are you?
No, not at all. And this area, in a few months, will have grown back.
Yeah, you'll never even know that we took them out. Well, it's pretty simple. They take them right out here. They separate them right over here. Put them in the boxes. And, you know, this is about it for this part of the adventure, but I really hate to leave this area. Do most people in LA know about this place?
This is one of the hidden natural treasures. It's man-made, but it's designed to be absolutely natural.
Yeah, because it looks, when you look out here, it looks and feels about as natural as it could be.
Yeah, it reminds me of California from pictures in the 30s where it's all dirt roads and there's water everywhere.
Well, this just points up that if you give nature half a chance, it'll come back even in urban areas like LA.
That's right, and part of our goal is to watch out for the plants.
Well, that's nature.
No, but part of our goal is to incorporate neighborhoods and nature and to make it work together.
All right, that's what we're doing. As we finish up our work here in the Sepulveda Basin and head into downtown LA. Well, this is a first. I never thought I'd be following a truckload of cattails heading down the freeway here in Los Angeles, but that's exactly what we're doing right now. And I got to tell you, this is pretty exciting because where we're going and what we're going to do with these cattails is truly amazing. We are unloading the cattails, and we have arrived at our destination. Mike, we need to let everybody know exactly where we are. That's downtown LA off in the distance. We are in the neighborhood of Echo Park, standing right beside Echo Park Lake. And this is your territory, this is your turf here. And in the past, you have had a problem with this lake, specifically with the water in this lake.
Right. Echo Park Lake has water that is dirty. It's got bacteria from the birds, it's got nutrients from urban runoff that's entering the lake, and we need to do something about it.
All right, so these beautiful little ducks down here, you're already slamming them by saying that they're putting bacteria in your water.
Right, as they would everywhere. Well, I love ducks, but they're part of this ecosystem here, and they're providing a lot of waste into the system.
All right, now how else does a lake get dirty? What makes a lake dirty? I'm not talking about like trash, I'm talking about the natural way it gets dirty. You got the birds pooping in there.
Right.
And what else?
There's a lot of people that use the lake, and anything that they throw around the lake ends up getting in it. Also, this lake is an urban lake which receives stormwater or urban runoff, and that's the area around the lake drains into it. So anything that ends up on the ground, whether it's from cars or trucks or even airplanes, ends up landing here and getting in the water, and that affects the water quality.
And what happens? How is it affected? Does it just turn green? Does it what happens to the water?
Right. A lake that has a lot of nutrients and bacteria in it tends to have a bad smell. The water looks overly green and cloudy, and that starts to affect the animals and the plants that live there.
So you had kind of a smelly green lake going here.
Well, Echo Park...
I mean, it was always a beautiful lake, because I love this lake, but let's just say it was too smelly and too green for your standards.
Right, and we don't use sort of smelly as a standard, but the bacteria was too high and the nutrients are high, and that compromises the lake.
And that's where the cattails come in. We're going to get to that story in just a minute, but before we do that, we want to turn around here for historical and botanical reasons to point out something that's unique to Los Angeles and maybe even to the whole state of California. This is absolutely spectacular. What are we looking at here?
This is an entire bed of lotus. These are aquatic plants that grow seasonally, and they were brought here, I think, in the 30s as part of the Peace Temple, and there's actually an entire festival here every August called the Lotus Festival.
So these beautiful lotus plants, and they're originally from China.
Yes.
And they are just spectacular plants. I've seen them in full bloom, and they are beautiful.
Right, and when tens of thousands of people come here in August to celebrate this.
All right, now the lotus are beautiful, but the cattails are what we're spending our time on. We're following this whole adventure. We're following the cattails.
That's right.
And I never knew that we would spend this much time on the simple little cattail, but this cattail is very, very important and goes a long way, is going a long way toward helping you solve your problem in the water out there in the middle of Echo Park Lake. That's what this adventure is really all about. I'm in the cattails. I'm also in the lake because we're now on a barge full of cattails. We're being towed out into the middle of Echo Park Lake. And now, Mike, is the time to make that connection between cattails and cleaner, fresher, healthier water in Echo Park Lake. And it's a pretty simple and kind of exciting thing that you came up with, and you thought of this yourself.
Right, I wanted to have a way to bring the plants to clean up the water, but I didn't want to impact the shoreline, and I wanted to make it so that it would be a habitat for the fish that are in the lake.
Now wait a minute, what do you mean the plants to clean up the water?
Sure, the plants naturally take up nutrients and heavy metals and bacteria, and through the root system is able to clean up the water.
So this happens in a natural setting. That's what plants do when they're in lakes and rivers and streams, right?
Right. Even the plants in your yard are doing that. They're removing nutrients that they need. Too many nutrients makes pollution. And so these plants are helping remove those nutrients.
From the lake.
From the lake.
The nutrients that were making this of a lake full of algae and kind of a stinky lake.
Well, I don't know if it's a stinky lake. I know that yeah, you're big on that, but just we want to get the water quality clean enough for fish to live here and for the residents, and we want it to be that the plants are cleaning it up. And if the plants are growing, if we put the plants out here and they grow, they are removing nutrients. They're doing their job.
So basically what you've done, you have taken these cattails that we got from the Sepulveda Basin this morning, and you have transported them to little islands like this out in the middle of the lake. What's the deal here? There are ducks living back up in here too.
That's right. This has been here for 2 years, and we planted it the same way we're going to plant the number 4 up here. And you can see that the birds have made their way in there, and the plants are growing. There's dragonflies. There's fish underneath. It's a whole ecosystem.
So you're making kind of a wild habitat right here in this lake in the middle of Los Angeles.
Right, and the more we provide for the animals out here, especially the birds, the less they're going to be on the shoreline, polluting the shoreline water.
And what's going on in here as far as cleaning up the water is concerned? What are the plants doing?
Well, the root system is taking up the nutrients, and then as the plants grow, they're using those nutrients.
So they're like a filter, a filtration
right.
system for the water.
That's right. This is a fancy biofilter. We're using plants to remove a pollutant.
Now, how did you come up with this idea?
Well, I used to work with large marine aquariums, and I built filters for that, and I've worked on constructed wetlands, and there isn't a place to put a wetlands in the lake. So I came up with the idea of a structure that would hold the plants in a modular way that would allow us to change out the plants.
And what did your bosses, I assume you have bosses somewhere in the city hierarchy here.
Oh, I have a lot of bosses.
What did they think of this idea when you first approached them with it?
At first, they were a little concerned that if it would work or not, but management went along with it in the Bureau of Sanitation and said, you know, let's try it, and this is a good thing, and so far so good.
So now we've been through the first, the second, this is the third island up here, and
Right.
they've been in long enough for you to tell whether or not they're working or not. Are they doing what you set out for them to do?
Right. Well, we haven't finished with completely testing the lake over several seasons, but like I said, if the plants are growing, it's working. The birds are there, so its habitat is good. The fish are attracted underneath it, and so we're actually excited about it.
So you've added a whole nother layer of activity here on this lake. I mean, there was always a lot going on here, but not a whole lot going on out in the lake like this. This is adding another layer to it all.
That's right, and lakes usually have plants in them. And a recreational lake like this with a hard margin on the side tends not to have those plants. And so we're actually sort of bringing back something that would have been there in the past.
Now this is island number 3, and it's not built up, it's not grown up nearly as much as island number 2 that we just passed by.
That's right, Huell. This was put in 2 months ago. So using the same process that you helped us with today, bringing the plants here in the crates. And if you look at the tops of the cattails and the bulrush, you can see the growing tips. And
so they're growing.
They're taken, yeah.
And here's where we're heading right now. Let's walk right down here and get a nice look at it, because island number 4 doesn't look nearly as interesting as islands number 1, 2, and 3. It's just a bare piece of wood out there.
That's right. It's a hexagonal form with floats on it and space to receive the plants.
Are you an engineer?
No, but my dad is.
So how did you figure out this particular thing?
Well, it has to be of a size that we can get into the lake easily with cranes. They come apart in 2 pieces, and you'll notice there's a walkway around the outside, and then there's an internal walkway so that we can maintain them.
Well, we're going to be able to get on that thing, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, we've actually got some footage that we shot earlier of this being towed out here.
And put together. Yeah, when we put it together back where we loaded the plants, you'll see the construction. The 2 pieces come together by crane, are bolted together by the carpenters and the workers, and then we lift it and put it in the lake, and then we tow it out, and we deploy anchors, 3 anchors for each island to hold it in place.
So this is a major production, just getting the islands themselves, the structures out here into the lake.
Right, and the exciting part is that this is the final part of that, is bringing the plants to them.
Okay, we're on the island, and we are leaving no stone unturned in this story, because now we've hooked up with, introduce yourself.
My name is Ted Piper. I work for the City of LA, Hyperion Treatment Plant.
You built this thing.
Me and about 6 other guys from the carpenter shop at Hyperion Treatment Plant.
And what did they do? Just come to you and say, we want to build an artificial island to put out in the middle of Echo Park Lake?
Pretty much. They wanted to improve the water quality here, and we were approached to sit there and see what we can do. So we came up with this design with some other people and fabricated.
How did you come up with this design? Because look at this, it's got a very interesting design here with these walkways in the middle. It's very functional in many ways, isn't it?
Well, we had to have the buoyancy, and we had to have it be functional so people can access the plant, the botanists and stuff. And
to come out and walk around on these things.
Right, and it had to be transported because of its size, so it had to break down into sections. And we used redwood so it would last, and it was a good design, and it seems to work well.
Well, so this really kind of got your creative juices flowing when they came to you with this project.
Well, it was a fun project. It was something different than what we usually do, so the guys rose to the occasion, and we had help with the equipment operators at Hyperion and the welders, and it was a collective effort, and people rallied behind the idea, and we got it done.
Okay, here comes another guy. Your name is?
My name is David Foster.
All right, you work out here at Echo Park Lake all the time.
Yeah, that's
all
correct.
All right, let's watch and see how this works. What do we do here?
Basically, it's just a milk crate with these hangers here, and what you do is slide it to slot. Steel hangers.
Oh, so wait a minute. Pick that up again. Let's show. This is fixed so that it fits right on the side of right on the wood there.
Yeah, you bet.
So you don't take it out of the crate.
No, it stays in the crate, and then it's going to grow in place, and you can pull it out later if you need to.
Oh, okay. So the crate always stays in here, even when these things get huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're here all the time. What's been the reaction of the locals around here to this idea?
It's been mostly positive. Everybody.
Wait a minute. Mostly positive. What do you mean?
Well, I should say all positive. A lot of questions, really. A lot of people want to know what's going on. A lot of people that come to see the birds love it. Birds love it.
Yeah, because you know what? This is kind of a... Mike, was this part of the idea that this was going to be a bird habitat as well? I'd never had even thought about that.
Right. The birds need a place to go, and the people and the birds along the shoreline, a lot of bird poop along the shore, so the more birds we get out here, the cleaner the lake is.
Yeah, that's been one of the benefits too.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't have slippery sidewalks anymore.
And wait a minute, you've been out here for a number of years, so have you literally seen the water change, the water quality change?
Well, I can say I've been here, this is my 3rd year now. And this year, I could say for sure that the water definitely seems to be cleaner. I've had a few people actually remark this week about how clean the water seems to be, and I seem to agree. It's a little clearer, and we don't have algae piling up like we used to.
Yeah.
People used to complain a lot about it was unsightly, and the lake looks a lot better.
So you're happy this is going on?
Oh, absolutely. I'm loving it.
Is this going to be enough? Or do we need to bring another load out here?
Usually it would take about 2 to 3 loads, and that would fill up the whole island, maybe 80 to 100 crates.
And the survival rate of these things is what, 100%? None of them die, do they? They're so hardy.
Well, the old ones will die, but they're replaced by the new shoots.
Yeah.
So that's the way it is.
And do you come out and inspect the other islands by walking around them? Or?
Yeah, we inspected the islands. Usually we would maintain it, make sure it's clean,
Because
that's not
wait
overgrown.
a minute, you're intruding on some bird territory now when you walk on these
Yeah,
things.
well, we try not to disturb if there is any nest there, but otherwise, we make sure that they're not overgrown outside of the crates.
Yeah. So as we are leaving the
Floating wetland island
out here in the middle of Echo Park, right in the middle of downtown Los Angeles, this series is called California's Green. So the question would be, how does this relate to anything that people watching can use in their daily lives? Because most of us don't have lakes that we can be planting cattails in.
Right. But think of the things that you can do in your house. You can compost your yard waste on site, use the green bin that's provided for recycling. You can recycle all your plastics. You can figure out ways to prevent runoff from having pollution. Get your car taken care of if it's leaking.
So wait a minute, you're just talking about the whole idea of caring about the environment.
Right. And, specifically, what we're doing here with the plants can be used around your house to clean up the water that's coming off of the roof or the driveway and things like that.
Do you think there'll be people watching this program from other cities or park systems that might see something like this and say, hey, we can do that in our lake as well? Are you getting any phone calls yet?
I get a lot of calls from people in the city asking about it, and they're usually very happy about what it does. And this lake is not different than other urban lakes.
All over California.
All over California.
So do you have a patent on this? Are you going to get rich from this idea, or does this belong to the people of California?
No, we don't have a patent, and I don't have a patent, but it is a novel way of doing it, and I'd be thrilled to see it used other places.
Well, it is a novel and a very creative way of taking care of a problem, and you and everybody in the city here in Los Angeles are to be congratulated for being innovative and creative, and I think that's what you were talking about, is that we can all let our imaginations run wild and come up with innovative and new ideas to help clean up the environment.
Yeah, I think that that's our future, is making things more natural, and better in the long run.
And you are using about as old-fashioned a theory. I mean, the plants have been cleaning up the water in a natural way for hundreds of thousands, for millions of years. This isn't really anything new. It's just that you're applying it in a new situation here in urban LA.
Right. Who knows? Decades ago, when Echo Park Lake was just part of a stream here, there could have been cattails growing along it.
Yeah.
So, in a way, this is a little bit of a restoration.
Isn't that interesting? We're going back to the original natural ways of doing things here in our environment.
That's right. Thanks for coming, Huell.
A lot of creativity. You are to be congratulated. Let's end up with this beautiful shot of it down there with the fountain in the background, the cattails growing on this beautiful little artificial wetland that's been created out here. A lot of thought and loving care put into these cattails and bringing them where they are today, doing the job they're doing, helping to keep California green.
This land is your land, and this land is my land, from the California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Huell Howser, and what a creative and innovative way we've just seen to help keep California green. If you'd like to go on this cattail adventure again, or share it with family or friends, or more importantly, donate a copy to your local school or library, it's available on video cassette and on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.
Support for this program is provided by the sanitation districts of Los Angeles County, keeping California green by taking what others have considered waste and turning it into new resources such as reclaimed water, energy, and recycled materials.